Hey, Michelle.
Hi, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Great, thank you.
Awesome.
Living the dream.
Aren't we all in procurement?
Just, just living the dream today.
Just living the dream. Yeah. Oh, it's funny.
Mhm.
All right. We'll give it a couple of minutes and we still got people joining and we'll
And
get.
Amber, are you going to control the slides and flip through?
Yes, I'm going to try. I will go ahead and apologize in advance. My internet's acting a little bit squirrely, so just let me know if I freeze or something.
Okay,
I will do my best.
I will pull mine up just in
Just
case.
yeah, just in case. Yeah. Have a backup plan.
Teamwork.
Teamwork makes the dream work. And we'll get started right at 1 and then it's recording for anybody that needs to go back and watch it or anybody that misses. Okay. And Michelle, I'm also making you co-host. That way you can,
Just in case.
yeah, just in case. Yeah.
No worries. I'm here for you, Chicklet.
All right. Okay, we're right on the nose here of the hour. So we'll go ahead and get started. And to start us off, the lovely Lori Newton is going to do the kind of the welcome and the intro for you all.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for coming on this webinar today. I think it's going to be really awesome as you prepare your chapter awards and look at doing your seals. And hopefully this year we'll have a record-breaking number. So to get us started, we're going to go through the chapter recognition and awards and how to complete those. This does not prevent any of you from reaching out to any of us, your chapter ambassadors, or to Jennifer to get additional information. And we'll talk about that as we go through. What we're going to cover today is the 2026 participation, the purpose of each of those programs, how to fill out the standard seal application, submitting the outstanding award, and hopefully we'll get a record number of those this year, and then tips from the judges. So this is a slide that shows all of the chapter seal awardees last year. So if you don't see your name this year from 2025, we hope to see it there in 2026. And those of you that had, bronze and gold and silver, we're looking for you to jump right on up to those next levels. So good luck to each of you. And just know that we as chapter ambassadors, Jennifer, Stefan, and the rest of us, we're all here to help you get there. The 2025 Outstanding Chapter Awards are listed here. These are the individuals that won last year. Outstanding Chapter Operations was West Virginia. Outstanding Chapter Membership was Central Florida. Outstanding Chapter Professional Development was Idaho Public Purchasing. Outstanding Chapter Advocacy and Outreach was the Oklahoma Association. And you can see to the right of that, these are all the chapters that did submit for those outstanding chapter awards. And I know that people think this is kind of a daunting task, but I would encourage each of you to look to do this year coming into 2026. It's based on your 2025 year in your chapter and what you did during that year. But I really encourage you to consider submitting, and you really do learn from it. It does help you prepare as well for your strategic planning in years to come. So I think, is that Am I still on this slide, Amber?
Yes. Yeah, but
Okay,
I can, whatever.
okay, that's fine.
We're tag
I
teaming
couldn't
it.
remember which ones I stopped at. I apologize.
You're
The
fine.
two-layered approach for the chapter recognition, you have the chapter seal awards. Those are standard in which chapters strive to get. Those are done as you get a digital seal. Those are bronze, silver, gold, or platinum, right in that order. And you'll get a seal at the end. You can include that on your chapter website. You can include that on all your printed material. But this is an opportunity to earn recognition for how well your chapter did on implementing the best practices. Structure removes any bias towards your chapter size. So it doesn't matter how big or small you are. And if you look at last year's awardees, you'll see evidence that that was the case. And then you have the Outstanding Chapter Awards. Those changed over the last couple of years. So we have 4 categories, and we recognize you in different outstanding practices. Excuse me. One winner is given a banner in each category, and it focuses on specific practices that we can use to recognize your chapter and make that the best practice available for others to replicate. So these are all available to all of you to go back and look at last year, so you can see what they wrote and how they did their programs, things you can learn from. So hopefully this will help you when you're submitting yours this year. So why should you participate? We want you to promote your profession, promote the efforts in your chapter in advancing the profession, and get the respect that you deserve. It's easy. We cut down the time from 100 hours to just a few. I've heard people say, oh, it took us so long and we just don't have time. I would encourage you to form maybe a task group within your chapter. Those that were maybe chapter leaders last year, your past president, those are people that can do this. I would also encourage you as you go along to keep track of things that your chapter does throughout the year to make this much easier. And then there's a little quote from Art Moore. He says, obtaining a performance standard seal allowed the Illinois Association of Public Procurement Officials to celebrate the successes of their chapter while identifying areas for improvement and growth. This honor allows us to showcase the strengths of the association while promoting the benefits of membership in our local chapter. So this is also a really great selling point to those that may want to join your chapter.
All right. So thanks, Lori, for teeing it up for me. So now we're going to kind of get into the nitty gritty, starting with chapter seals. So there's a quote from Tabitha Freeman here on the slide about why her chapter chose to submit a seal. So shout out to Tabitha if you're on, and shout out to the Central Florida chapter for earning their platinum seal and for winning the Outstanding Chapter Membership Award last year. Great job. So Tabitha says, as chapter leaders, we work diligently to provide initiatives, events, and professional development for our members. The Performance Standard Seal honors our efforts through key performance indicators, creating a publicly recognized award program for NIGB chapters. All right, so one important thing to remember is that your chapter must submit an application each year to earn a seal. So even if you've earned a seal or applied last year, doesn't mean that you can skip the application process this year in order to get one. Like, you still have to submit a seal for a seal every year. And then there will be a link at the end of this slide deck that shows you where to pull the most recent application, but the application form, but it's posted on the NIGP website under the chapters tab. When you go to the NIGP website, there's multiple choices at the top, like learning, certification. You'll go to the chapters tab, and then you'll have 2 choices, and you'll want to go to supporting chapter leaders, and then under that it's called recognition and awards. And it's really important for you to pull the most recent form because some of the questions have changed last year versus this year, and Jen made it easier this year, so why wouldn't you want to use the easier form, right? So the application contains 60 questions in 4 different categories. So chapter operations, leadership, involvement, and member services. And 46 of the 60 questions are just yes or no. So and then 14 questions, the remaining 14 will ask for a numeric response. But it gets easier. So NIGP will supply you with the reports to help you answer 4 of the 14 numeric responses having to do with those items on the right of the slide, and that very rightmost box of the slide. So chapter member attendance at NIGP forum, virtual forum, in-person forum, and then VCon, and then leadership summit. So all you have to do is email chapters@nigp.org, request that information. They'll send that over to you, and you can kind of compare that against your membership records to help you fill out those 4 questions. And then all questions must be completed to be eligible to receive a seal. So don't skip over any questions. If your chapter didn't do that, then just, put no in there. So don't skip over anything. Make sure you answer all the questions. And then one important thing to keep in mind as you're filling this out, that this is based on your 2025 activities. So it's not based on anything that you've done this year. Also very important is that the chapter must be current with all your chapter reporting forms. So, your member data and your leadership and the financial stuff. So all of that, those things that were due in January and March, make sure that you get those done if you're trying to submit for a seal, so that your submission and your hard work can be recognized. And while no supporting documentation is necessary to submit with your seal application, NIGP does reserve the right to audit your submission. And all or most of this information can be found in the seal and awards criteria document that I referenced at the website that I referenced about the awards and recognitions under the chapter tab. And also, this is being recorded for you all so that you can share it with any chapter members, or if someone was missing that's going to be completing this information, or they're going to be helping complete this information, that you'll be able to get that to them. So the seal application, that the document that you pull off of the NIGP chapter website, will be in Excel format. So what you do is you click on this response, right, for the items that are yes or no. You're going to click in this cell here under the response column, and there's going to be a note telling you the format of the data that it's looking for. It's going to say that it's yes or no, or that it's requiring a numeric. And then if it's yes or no, there's going to be a little arrow with a drop down list for you, and you only have 2 options, yes or no. So, like we said on the previous slide, 46 of the questions will be in that format. And then if the question is looking for a numeric value, a little yellow notes box will kind of pop up when you click on it or hover over the question, and it'll tell you whether it wants a number or a percentage there. So like these over here, that's asking for percentage and whatnot. So it'll only let you, there's not going to be a drop down box there. You're going to have to enter in a number. Let's see. And then more good news. So if you have Club Express, some of these questions are probably going to be yes. There's like a question that asks about, did the website list all chapter events with date and registration links? And did the chapter's website offer a member directory? So think questions like that. But if you have Club Express, you probably could answer yes there. And then the last note is please don't put any data in the notes column. This notes column is just to provide you with some context about what might be included in here, like you see here where it's talking about, current procurement related certifications includes state certifications, designations, and whatnot. So it's giving you a little bit of context so that you have a better idea of what you can include when you're looking at that data. And then how the seals are scored. So you get 1 point for yes, 0 points for no. And then for the 14 questions that are numerical responses, points are going to range from 0 to 4 points. And each question is based on a different percentage range. So at the end, when Jen tallies up the points earned, 40 to 49 points, it gets a bronze seal, 50, 59 gets silver, 60 to 69 gets a gold, and platinum seals are earned by getting at least 70 points or more. And then now let's shift gears to outstanding chapter awards. So shout out to Camber, who's quoted here about her chapter, the Oregon Public Purchasing Association. So she did this quote when they won the Outstanding Chapter Operations Award in 2021. So she said, as past president of OPPA, winning the award felt like a major accomplishment both for our chapter and for me personally. Like most chapters, we were really looking outside of the box during the pandemic to keep our members and chapters alive and engaged. Winning the award was reassurance that we succeeded in keeping our chapter a success. So great job. All right, and then like I said, switching gears to the outstanding awards, right? So the previous ones were about the seal application. This is about the outstanding awards. So these awards are formulated to help recognize chapters in all their awesomeness in these 4 categories. So operations is evaluating how your chapter excels in its operating processes, including policies and procedures, budgeting, recognition of agencies and individuals. And other examples of submissions in this category are board transitions processes, financial planning, strategic planning, auditing, and fundraising. And then membership looks at, does your chapter excel in member benefits and resources, and what are the methods for member retention and growth? So other examples in this category are scholarships, member recruitment and retention, member mentorship, young professional programs. Then you've got your chapter advocacy and outreach, and that evaluates if your chapter utilizes best practices and operations that have been demonstrated to be an effective advocate for members and our profession. And items under this could be reverse trade shows, career days, your work with local schools and universities, for example. And then chapter professional development asks, does your chapter excel in providing educational resources and other opportunities for your membership? And items under this could be conferences, educational events for your members or suppliers, certification, study and review groups. All right, and then extremely important here, your chapter must complete the standard seal application in order to submit for a chapter outstanding award. So remember that means that all of your chapter reports need to be completed. So your member data and your financial stuff and all that stuff that was due in January and March. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, please email chapters@nigp.org to make sure that you're current there. So make sure that all that reporting is done. And you also have to do a seal application. Then you can also do this, right? So you can submit both of them at the same time, since they're both due on the same day. But please make sure that you submit, if you're submitting for both, please make sure that you do them in 2 separate documents. So 2 different PDFs, 2 different attachments when you do submit them. Okay. Like the seal application, the chapter outstanding awards application should include only programs and activities that took place in 2025. If you're really excited about something that you're doing in 2026, hold that thought, right? You'll have a chance to submit for that program next year. And maybe even look at the document that you're going to be filling out for that award and be keeping those things in mind as you are looking at this 2026 program, and keeping in mind like what it's asking for and keep track of those things. And then exciting and new this year, if you don't know which category to submit for because you just have so much great stuff going on, you don't have to choose. You can submit in all 4 categories, but they have to be 4 different programs And then they also need to be a separate submission in a separate document, okay? Let's see, the documents must be in Word or PDF format. And we're looking for 4 to 5 pages in length maximum. So 5 pages maximum, not including your cover page, and highlight only 1 or 2 programs, events, best practices for that category. And then, you'll want to describe your program in detail, and you can use text, photos, links, etc. But be aware that, if you've got photos and things, that counts against your page length when the judges are scoring your submission. And remember, you've only got 4 to 5 pages max, not including your cover sheet.
You told them this. Is it?
Oops. Okay. All right. And then when you pull the words, so the outstanding awards, when you go out on the NIGB website to pull that, it'll automatically be in a Word document. So when you pull that Word document for your outstanding awards application, there's 4 areas to fill out. Okay. So the first section is asking you to explain your program in detail so that another chapter could understand it, adapt it, or replicate it. Replicating it's really important, right? Because we really want to learn from each other and be able to, we want to be able to use that for other chapters if you're doing something really awesome. Then the second section is all about outcomes and results. And each one on the form, it'll have like a set of questions to kind of help you frame your response to these. Okay, and then the third section asks what makes your program different from anything you've done before. It doesn't have to be different from what other chapters are doing.
It's redundant.
Let's see here. It doesn't have to be different from what other chapters are doing. It just needs to be different than what you've done before. So, for example, other chapters have reverse trade shows, for instance, but if you did a reverse trade show for the first time at your chapter, you could submit that under the chapter advocacy category. And then the third section is what lessons did you learn? And that's really, really important for this. So it's, what worked, what didn't work, and would your chapter do that program again the same way, or would you maybe change something about it? And that's, that really is helpful for other chapters when they go to read this submission. So judges will score based on how well you responded and how well you answer those 4 criteria sections and the follow-up questions, the little sub-questions under them. So scoring's on a 0 to 10 scale, with 0 being you didn't respond or really answer that, and 10 being wow, above and beyond, amazing. And then just remember that we stick to the scoring like you do with an RFP evaluation. So please remember that the scoring is based on all the requirements, including if you stayed within your page limit. So, if you had an amazing response but didn't stay within your page limit, points are deducted. All right. And then this is what the outstanding award application looks like. So again, you pull that off of the NIGP chapter's website so that you've got the latest application form and the latest info, and it will give you all these requirements and criteria that we just went over, and we'll provide you with a Word template that you can put your responses in. So you notice that it's just asking for, name and some little bit of information here. You're going to check which one
9, 10, 11, 2.
which one you are submitting for. And then here's the different criteria sections with their sub questions. Okay. All right, and now I'm going to turn it over to Michelle to give you some tips from our judges.
Awesome. Thanks, Amber. So I feel very lucky to get this session because this is all the tips and tricks to how to help you do a great submission. It's not a secret. We want you guys to be successful in your submissions, and we are happy to help in any way we can do that. And here's one of the ways we're going to do that is by telling you what we've learned as judges and what we think will be helpful. So one, like anything, just like a bid doc, we might as well just keep referring to that, Amber and I, but read the instructions thoroughly, understand what the question is asking you to provide, respond to each of the 4 questions, don't leave a section blank. Don't be repetitive in the response. I'll tell you if we're reading it and we're reading the same thing that you just told us in answer 2, and we're reading that again to your response in answer 3. That makes it harder to score well. As a suggestion, have a procurement person and a non-procurement person read over the application and ask for feedback, because it really is about clarity. So it's really about multiple judges are reviewing it and they're saying, can I understand from this what they did, why it was so great, and how somebody else could use this information to build a great program or duplicate that. Don't reply solely on pictures. So everybody loves a picture. Pictures are great. But if it's the answer to the question only contains pictures and a link to multiple websites for us to go and look at to gather our own information about the program, you're not going to be scored well on that. So we want details in the response. It doesn't need to be a novel. There is a 5-page limit and there's 4 questions. So it's not a novel you're writing about each one, but it does need to have enough information that we can understand that program. Next slide, please, Amber. So on the outstanding awards, we already said focus on 1 effort or 2. Do not try and tell us about all 6 programs that are great. I know everybody's doing lots of great stuff. Just pick out 1 or 2 that have done exceptionally well for your chapter, and those are the ones you want to highlight. Again, I think I've kicked this horse dead 1,000 times by now, but enough detail that we can replicate that in another chapter. And one of them really is around the outcomes, the measures of success. How do you know that whichever program you're highlighting was successful? Did it result in an increased number of members? Did it increase with a higher member satisfaction rate when you surveyed? Did it, what was it? Did it increase your attendance? How do you know that it was a successful program? Again, don't send us on a search and find mission. Most of us have a short attention span on a good day. We will get lost if we're having to try and go to links and search through for data. And I have to say, of previous submissions that have been reviewed, even if it was a program where it wasn't as successful, like in the lessons learned session, you're like, oh, we wouldn't have done this. We would have done this differently. That's really valuable information for another chapter to know if they're going to put on a similar type of program or event. So really making sure the lessons learned are there. It can be really helpful. And then I also want to say, if you don't succeed, so some people are like, well, we're not going to put, I've had a chapter say to me, we're not going to submit because we know we're not going to win. I'm like, that is ridiculous. Submit, because just going through either awards application process, particularly a seal, it can really provide valuable information on maybe what's an area in your chapter that needs some help with. And then that might inform how you reach out to your ambassadors and what they can help you with. And again, your strategic planning for your chapter can help with that as well. Next slide, please, Miss. Resources, again, tips and tricks. We're all about how we can help you. Here, you'll get a copy of this presentation, and this is the outstanding award submissions from 2025, as well as the link. But the biggest resource I want to highlight is this. I think this is Jen, and we all love Jen Steffen, but she goes above and beyond. She will happily have a one-on-one with you to talk about your past submissions, what worked, what didn't, to answer any questions you may have on how do you gather data, or what information you don't know what to include in this section and how could you help. She is a great resource, and everybody, if you don't know her email off by heart by now, it will be included in the presentation. Application date, May 29th. Everybody take a minute, put this in your calendars. May 29th is when both the seal and the outstanding award are due. So we have almost 2 full months. So there is lots of time, particularly on the seals. Honestly, there's not a lot of data you got to go and gather for that. There's like 10 questions that you actually need to pull numbers for. The rest are yes or no or provided to you. But again, May 29th, everybody put it in your calendar. Do a little thumbs up after you've put it in your calendar so I know that you're listening and that you're excited about this as much as we are. And to wrap that up, anything else, Miss Amber? Contact us. I think there might have been one question in the chat, and Lori and Amber and I are happy to try and help answer any questions that anyone can have. You can always reach out to Jen, or you can always reach out to your ambassador for your area. At like a week from now, when you're like, oh yeah, I need to start getting going on that, and I need some help. Please reach out to your ambassador, or any of us, and we are happy to help you. And with that, I'll open it up if people have questions.
Yeah, it looks like, okay, so Lori said, Amber, can you add those examples? Okay, yeah, so Lori, I literally pulled those examples from the outstanding criteria. So like when you scroll down right there,
Okay, great.
for categories.
I think a
for
lot
your
of people
honor
get
form.
confused what category, right?
Yeah,
And I thought
exactly.
that was really awesome that you elaborated on those. So yeah, great.
Yep, so that's that. And then just so people, let's see here. So just so people are aware, NIGP website, you've got your tabs up here, chapters, and you go over here and you supporting chapter leaders, recognition and awards right there. So that's where you're going to go. And that gives you the forms that we talked about. So here's the criteria that literally just talks about what we just spoke about for both of them. And then both of the applications, so the seal and the award right there.
I think we had a question on where to do the report in Club Express, and unfortunately, I'm not a Club Express user. I know the answer. So if someone can help with that.
Let's say we've got a bunch of people on here. Is anybody a Club Express guru? I know there's a way to do it under the people piece, and you can run a report there, but some of those reports, you just kind of have to play around with them, and you just pull your member data, and then you can kind of see, okay, who renewed and who didn't. But anybody, let's see here. Anybody on that is a Club Express guru?
If not, we can get back with that
Yeah.
individual.
Yeah.
Rosalind says you have to pull several reports to obtain that data.
So we can follow up. We'll send that to Jen
Yeah.
and just maybe they can do that. I know they do those regular calls for Club Express, so maybe they can make that a topic on one of the upcoming
Right.
Club Express calls they have on how to pull that data to make it a little easier. So I'm happy to forward that off.
There are other chapter ambassadors on the call today. I just saw where Jed put in the chat, that he's available to help people in his area. So just know that Amber talked about who your ambassadors are. It was I think Michelle had it on the last screen. So we're here to help you. We want to be a part of your success. Chances are most of us have been involved in this process as well for our own chapters. So it's really helpful, and we score so we know what people are looking for. I think we'll reach out to the people at Club Express then, and it sounds like everybody wants that same data. So we'll reach out through Jen and try to get that information posted, or have a separate webinar that can help you with that. So we'll follow up on that.
Any other questions that anybody's got? Just come off mute or put them in the chat. And then while we're kind of waiting on that, if you are not sure who your chapter ambassador is, let's see, it's under that same tab that's supporting chapter leaders. You'll go to chapter visits and ambassadors. And then right here, it's got them by area. So you have plenty of choices, right? So, and then, as always, you can email chapters@nigp.org or jstefan@nigp.org as well. So. Yeah, I agree. I agree, Rosalind. So maybe we can talk to Jen and the people at Club Express. That'd be great if they would, if we could kind of create a report template just for this, where we could pull that data.
I've captured those 2 questions and I'm just shooting off the email now, just so you guys know.
Thank you. All right.
I do think that Jen can assist with some of that membership data as well, or point you to a place for that. So she's available to all of you for some of the data questions. I think you guys said it's like 4 questions, 5 questions.
Mhm.
I think Michelle said that really has to have data. And I've been very successful in my past submissions and working directly with Jen. So she's there for you to assist.
Yep, this right here, this data right here is what NIGP can send to you, so that you've got it. Which, like I said, knocks off 4 questions of the 14 for numeric. All right. I'm not seeing any other questions in the chat. Michelle, Lori, did I miss any? I'm just trying to scan through.
Nope, I scanned through and I think you got them.
Perfect.
Yeah, there wasn't anything new in there.
Oh,
Thank you.
sorry, there's one just now. How
Oh.
many are on the review committee?
We split it out by section. So let's see. We split it out by different award. And then do you remember, Lori or Michelle? It
I was
seems like
just
it's
trying to
about
think. It's usually
5
4 or
6.
5.
Yeah,
I
I
would
was
say
thinking
it's
like
usually 4 or 5 people. I will say, just so everyone knows the fairness of it, we will not review an award based on our own chapter, right?
or our own area.
Yeah, in our own area. So just note that, if I'm reviewing awards, it's going to be some that I don't have anything to do with, not in my area whatsoever. And just as a reminder, something that we said during this presentation is remember that it's for 2025, because I've had to score people like zeros because it was all focused on the current year. So just to, make sure that your team understands this is for past year. That's why a lot of chapters will use their past president and their past board to participate in this process. And yes, will the chapters receive feedback, Nicole? The other thing is, yes, you can have one-on-ones with Jennifer. You can look at what the other chapters submitted, and that helps you to do better the next year. So I would strongly encourage you to do kind of like you do with an RFP, a debrief with Jennifer and say, what could I have done different? How can I do better? Right?
Yep. And you can look at so if you're like struggling, like, how do you answer this? You can
Yeah.
go to that same website that I've been showing you, chapter supporting chapter leader recognition and awards. You go down here, I'm going to click on outstanding chapter awards. Boom. Now I've got a hyperlink to what the winning chapter submitted. And not only that, I can look and see who has won for, the last several years and look at their submission. Well, no, I can't, can I? You used to have where you could do that, but you can at least look. I'm sure if you were interested and you wanted to email that chapters@nigp.org, that could be provided to you if you are interested. But there is a direct hyperlink there for just
And I'll tell you, looking at those past award winner it's very beneficial. And as far as whether a small chapter can win, absolutely. So I want to say West Virginia was one of the chapters last year that scored really high. So yes, it doesn't matter the size, it's about the program.
Yep. Okay.
I say to people all the time, if you don't get in the game, you can't win, right? So you don't know how many people are going to submit. We hope that everyone will submit, but who knows? You could be the only one submitting. So just make sure that it's really a learning opportunity. One of my chapters last year did it for the first time. They didn't win, but that's okay. They didn't win. They learned so much from that process that it helped them to grow what they would do in the next year.
Yeah. And last year, I remember I was on the scoring committee for one of these four, and we did only have one chapter submit. So you never know year to year how many is going to submit in the categories. So just throw your name in the hat, right? The answer is always no till you ask. So
I think that's it.
that it? Okay.
Caught up.
All right. Well, if there is nothing else, I am gonna stop sharing my screen, and we will stay on for a few minutes if anyone has some questions that you are not comfortable asking in a group setting. And with that, if you don't have any questions or don't need anything of us, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your afternoon. And hopefully many of you will submit. So thank you all.
Thank you.
I'm going to stop
A
the
lot of
recording.
thank yous.
Yeah, I'm going to stop.